Y'all, this is my first YouTube video like this. It's just a simple response about the absolutely tragic news about Charlie Kirk, what happened to him today. I was at the gym basically all day, both with clients and working out, and was made aware through social media and some people texting me just that he was shot at an event in Utah. And from what I knew, he was alive and potentially even hopeful that he would make it through. And while I was with somebody, it became clear that he wasn't going to be making it. Whatever you believe, Charlie Kirk, people talk about his rhetoric or whatever, but the reality is that he was a man of God. I believe he has two young children under the age of 4. He has a wife, and this is just absolutely ridiculous and tragic. And, if you guys are familiar with Ray Dalio, the big thing that I am pretty fearful of with this situation and just everything that's been happening in the United States, it's just honestly frightening. I'm 31, and, my wife and I will be having children soon, and it's just again frightening to consider what precedent this is setting for young people that are growing up in America and the United States, that this is becoming normal. And unfortunately, this event, these actions that have been taking place in our nation, create a kind of numbing effect to people to think that this is now the new normal. And I brought up Ray Dalio. He wrote a book called The Fourth Turning, which I highly recommend it, to understand kind of geopolitical, historical turnings and modern nations and world empires and whatnot. And, it's really shaking me up right now, honestly. Like, the fourth turning, it just basically, one of the things Ray Dalio talks about is this dynamic of like a lot of nations, as they begin to internally dissolve, things like this happen and it actually becomes normal. And when it becomes normal, greater and greater disasters take place. And I'm a Christian. Charlie was a Christian, and people want to throw out terms like Christian nationalist or whatever. But the thing that I am strongly in belief of is whatever political party you're in, left, right, center, the reality is that if you say Jesus is Lord and you worship him and you've given your life to him, you are a believer, and you are actually brothers with people even on the other side of the aisle. And I just urge everybody to choose to believe Christ and what he has said, which is to love God, number one, and love others, and to do to others as you would want them to do unto you. Guys, this is frightening times, and again, prayers go out to Charlie Kirk's family. Years ago, I actually saw Charlie Kirk at an event, and the rhetoric he was sharing was nothing but he wants prosperity economically, and he wants prosperity in families. He wants prosperity in every aspect having to do with the United States. And that's what I'm for. That's what I hope any American is for. So for anybody to, especially in the U.S., call him anything but somebody that was a loving man and somebody that wanted the best for the United States. And whatever means, whatever route that looked like, you can argue all you want, which I understand. But this violence is never the answer. It's never, ever the answer. And we can look at any, world empire throughout history, and this typically is an indicator of something far worse than just a single event like this. So guys, this is a sobering message, clearly. Not about fitness. I actually have my first interview tomorrow for the Eric Tenbrink podcast. It's going to be about men's health, men's success, financial, physical, emotional, spiritual. And so, yeah, this is going to be my first video just talking about kind of real world stuff, y'all. So, love you guys a lot. Please, after an event like this, look at everyone around you, express love to them, and, pray for your leaders, whether you agree with them or not. Pray that light would come to every person on the earth and in the United States if you're here. Love you guys.